It's 50 tips and strategies that businesses can do today to keep their customers coming back tomorrow, because in our business, in any business, it's all about the repeat business. You don't want to have to keep going out and getting new customers all the time. You want the customers that are already in front of you to keep coming back. And so you want to make that experience as wonderful as possible. And so it's an easy read, 50 tips and strategies that businesses can do. It's why customer service is so important. And really today, in today's day and age, as you said in the introduction, businesses cannot compete on price alone. As we found out during the pandemic, a lower price is just a click away.
One of the most important facets of any business is customer service. In business, you are not only selling a product or a service, but an experience. Providing exceptional customer service and developing real relationships with your clients means increased sales, retain customers, new customers via word of mouth, and a positive reputation. You're listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Benjamin Del Grosso gives you the ins and outs of one of the most underlooked aspects in business today. Improve your customer service and watch your business skyrocket. 2, 1. Now, here's your host, Benjamin Del Grosso.
Hi, and welcome to the show. Today we have Paul Rutter here. Paul Rutter, his philosophy is good is no longer good enough for businesses to succeed. You cannot compete on price alone. Customer service is the marketing of the future. So, Paul, welcome to the show.
Great to be with you. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do and where you're from.
Sure. Well, I come to you from the hospitality industry, the travel industry, and more specifically, the cruise industry, where I've worked on board some of the largest and most luxurious cruise ships in the world. And the cruise industry is very unique because it's one of the very few industries in the world where we actually live with our customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, you and I were talking about, you've been on a few cruises before, so you know that when you come on board a ship, the passengers and the crew members are together for however long that cruise may be. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 months on a world cruise. But we live with our customers 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's a very unique dynamic. It's not like we can not answer their phone calls or not answer their emails. We have to be there, because if we don't do our job at what their expectations are, we don't meet their expectations, they're right at the front desk and they know where to find us, and we could bump into them just as we turn a corner. So the first question I always ask land-based businesses is, could you or your company survive if you had to live with your customers, your clients, and your coworkers? And when I ask that question, the eyebrows always go up, and it's, wow, I never thought of it that way. Because also on the cruise ship, we also live with our coworkers. So the person I just spent 8 hours next to, let's say at the front desk or working in the restaurant or hosting activities, that person may be my roommate. And so usually on a cruise ship, it's depending on seniority and how long you've been there, it's 2 people to a cabin with their own bath and everything. So the dynamics and the engagement that you have to have on board a ship with your customers and your coworkers is very dynamic and very unique. And I think land-based businesses can learn a lot from the cruise ships, because, the largest cruise ships in the world have over 6,000 guests with over 2,000 crew members. That's over 8,000 people in a metal box in the middle of the ocean. What could possibly go wrong? And so we have to have policies and procedures in place for that.
Well, I was thinking about it. The biggest thing I think you need when you're talking about a cruise ship too is a very strong core values, and you need to probably one of those core values that needs to be on the cruise ship is probably family values, in terms of like everybody needs to get along like a family. And sometimes you might argue, but at the same time you should be able to make up right away. and get right back at it, right? Especially if you might be living with you're living with all these people, right? Every single day. You're probably eating food next to these people every single day, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's a whole different dynamic when you start thinking about it. Because I mean, your customers can't stay in your store 24/7. Typically, someone might be open, let's call it 9 to 6, and after 6 o'clock, sorry, we're closed. Come pick your vehicle up tomorrow or whatever, right? So yeah, you don't really think about it like that. 24 hours. Imagine a dealership being open 24 hours a day and customers being able to be in there 24 hours a day. And you had to live there. It'd be interesting.
Right. And your coworkers are there. So, some of the crew members on board our ships are, typically depending on seniority. I'm a cruise director on board, so I'm a 3.5 stripe officer. So I get my own room, of course, and my contracts are a little bit shorter. But some of the contracts, people are on board for 6 months at a time. Some people are 8 months at a time. And people say, sometimes we get asked, well, do you do a cruise for 7 days and then you go home for 7 days? And then no, the answer is no. A cruise ship will come in the morning at 8 o'clock, and on average, 2,500, 3,000 people get off. We clean the ship. New passengers will come on at, let's say, noon, and then we sail at 4 or 5 o'clock again that afternoon. We've loaded supplies. We've loaded all the food. We've loaded, could be 10 or 20 truckloads worth of provisions and goods that day. And so time is money in the cruise industry. So no, if we have a 6-month contract, we're on there for 6 months straight with rarely a day off.
Yeah,
so it's very unique.
I had a lady on the show who she's a performer, right? And she ended up she was in Vegas doing like a performance. I want to say she was 18 or 19. She was very young, and she got picked up by a cruise ship company. And I think she told me, she was like, boom, gone, like 6 months gone, right? But then, like, after a while, she didn't like that life, and she had kids, stuff like that. So she settled down. But for quite a long time, she said it was awesome because you get to see a lot of different places in the world. You get to travel, which is, pretty fun. Like, I'd imagine if you are on a cruise ship, you probably, if you're not working and they stop somewhere, you probably get the same privileges as the passengers, where you actually get to go and see those destinations, I would guess.
Well, you're guessing correctly. That's one of the great things about working on board, is that you get to travel the world and you get paid for it. Now, during the pandemic over the last few years, it was week by week different, because when cruise ships first started coming back from the pandemic, no, the crew could not get off in the port. It was very strict. But we knew that in advance, that if we agreed to a contract, we'd probably be on board for that whole time. But now things have loosened up a little bit. Even Canada, where you are, they've opened up their borders. Last year they were closed. So now, yes, in pretty much anywhere in the world, when we go, if we have time off that day, then absolutely the crew is ashore. They're enjoying, the beaches or the internet or restaurants or anything else that, yes, guests are enjoying as well.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So what is like one thing you do or have done to provide a positive customer experience?
Well, I think every day we try to provide a positive customer experience. We actually have one goal on board our ship. That's it, just one goal. And it should be the same goal that every single land-based business has. And that is to create an exceptional experience that exceeds expectations, because our goal is to have our customers, our guests, book their next cruise before this current cruise is over. And so if we've done that, then we know that we've done our job, because sometimes it's an impulse buy. They're saying, well, I'm having such a great time on this Caribbean cruise. Where do you want to go next time? We know that, let's say, Holland America or Royal Caribbean or Carnival, we know their product. We're so happy here. Let's book our next cruise now. And we don't even have to pick a destination or a cabin or whatever. We just put in like a reservation for a small deposit. But that way we know there's a 98% chance that our customers are going to come back to us. And so that's the goal, is repeat business, is that we want you to join our loyalty program and be loyal to our brand. Just like any business on land wants their customers to be loyal to them. We want our customers to become our best advocates, our raving brand ambassadors, as I call them in my book. So that's the goal every single day, is to create an exceptional experience that exceeds expectations. And so a lot of times your question was, what are some of the things we do? It's the little things that we do. Yes, the food is going to be great. And yes, the entertainment is going to be good. But the fact that your waiter remembers your name and knows that you like iced tea at every single meal, and before you get to the dining room, there's iced tea waiting for you on the table, are the little things that you're going to remember for your next cruise. We've actually had customers, they want to know where their waiter is, what ship they're on, because they want to go on that ship with that particular waiter, because that waiter created such an exceptional experience the last time they cruised with us. So those are the things we're looking for, creating experiences. That's what people remember. We're not in the business of cruises. We're not in the business of travel. We're in the business of creating memories, because that's what people remember, obviously.
Yeah, so I like saying this saying recently, if we don't take care of our customers, someone else will.
Absolutely.
So, and that's the big thing. And I've had a couple people ask me, what's your secret to taking care of your customers? And I go, well, the secret is you actually have to care. And they're like, well, yeah, no. Like, but how do you, speed up the process of getting? I'm like, well, there's no speedy process in delivering customer service, customer experience. What it is you actually have to care, and you have to take care of your customers. And that's the big thing. And when you're talking about your book, tell me a little bit more about the book that you have.
Well, thank you. I know that was a shameless plug on my part, so I apologize for that. But I actually have
Oh, no,
two
that's
books
fine.
out. I actually have two books out, but the latest one is about my experiences on board. It's called You Can't Make This Ship Up. And it's about the crazy things, because people always say, oh, when they hear I work on a cruise ship, they always say, wow, you must have some great stories to tell. And the answer is yes, I do have some great stories to tell. But it's more from a business aspect about what we learn from them and what businesses can learn from the crazy things that happen. For instance, how we deal with hurricanes. We can be in the middle of a cruise and all of a sudden we get news that a hurricane has formed. Well, what are we going to do about that? And so it's things like that we have to have policies and procedures and even principles in place. You talk about values and things like that. Those are already in place, and those are ingrained in the crew. And so just some crazy things. So this book came out late last year, and I'm just very proud of it. A lot of crew members say, oh, one of these days I'm going to write a book, and they never get around to it. Well, during the pandemic, I had a few years to do it. And so the name is You Can't Make This Ship Up. And so very proud of it.
Yeah, no, yeah. I just when I think back to all the amazing experiences and stuff that I've had in my life, and we were talking about this kind of off camera, one of the best experiences I ever had in my life that I've probably told everybody about was going to Europe. And when we were in Europe, we boarded an MSC cruise ship, and we got to see like Casablanca, Barcelona, Lisbon, Portugal, right? We got to go to Marseille, France, Mayaga, Spain, Genoa, Italy. So we got to see all these different places, and we got to experience all these places, which was pretty amazing. And that's the big thing. When you're on a cruise ship, you want to remember that. And I remember that. And I remember that cruise ship because of the experiences I had and everything that took place. I remember the food. I remember finding this amazing coffee that I found when I was in Venice, Italy. And I had to explain it to the people on the cruise ship about this. And I had to show them pictures. And then what they did is they recreated that drink for me over and over and over again. And I would only go back to the same guy. Why? Because he understood the coffee drink I want, which nowadays, if you go to a Starbucks, it's called a latte macchiato. But the thing is nobody knew what to call it. And I didn't know what to call it because I'd never seen it until I went to Italy. So it's very new to North American culture. About 7 years ago, I think it was introduced into the North American culture. So, but all those experiences that happen, and you think about it, when you're on that cruise ship, you need to create an experience that's amazing, that people are going to love, people are going to remember. Why? Because if they remember, they're going to tell their friends, hey, I was on a Royal Caribbean cruise and we went to Mexico and we seen Cabo San Lucas and we went to Puerto Vallarta and, we went to Jamaica and it was amazing. And everybody was so friendly. And, when we went to Mexico, they had Mexican food that day on the ship. And when we went to Jamaica, they had jerk chicken on the ship. It was amazing. It just felt like we were all part of the culture and part of everything. It was a great, great experience. And you know how many people they're probably going to tell a bunch of their friends, and those friends, because they were so blown away, are going to go, you know what? We need to book a Royal Caribbean cruise or whoever, right? And
Right.
and get on that ship because that experience sounded so amazing, right? But if they had a bad experience, they're probably going to tell 10 or 20 of their friends how terrible it was. They hated it, hated the food, hated their room. So it's very important, and maybe this sounds bad, but it's like you have to put on a performance. You need to be 100% all the time, helping everybody out, performing. And if something goes wrong, you need to be there for them. And like you said, it's not like you can jump off the ship. Well, you could, but you got to be there.
We don't recommend it.
We don't recommend it, right? But I mean, you got to be there to take care of your customers, and you're inside like you said, the metal walls on a ship. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting the things that people remember, and even just getting that one coffee from that one server on board is something that you'll remember for a long time. And as you just said, we want our customers to give us free marketing and free advertising by telling all of their family and friends, because people they tend not to review. They tend not to believe anonymous reviews online, but they will believe their neighbors and their family and their friends when they go online or when they tell them about their experiences. And one of the great things that I have had working on board is Americans and even Canadians are the minority amongst the crew. So the crew members, let's say a ship I got off of has 1,500 crew members. Well, there may only be 20 Americans, and there's crew members from 70 different countries on board, from China and India and the Philippines and Croatia and Serbia. And that's such a wonderful experience, is to learn about all the backgrounds and the stories of these amazing crew members, because that involves a lot of the experiences that people have is with the crew members. And you said, how do you create these experiences? You asked, how do you create? First is attitude. You have to have the right attitude to work on board. It's not for everybody, but if you have the right attitude and are grateful for all the perks that come with it, no job is perfect, let's be honest, but some jobs have better good points than bad points, and cruising is one of those. But one of the great things is that I just got to meet, and with social media, you stay in touch with people from all over the world. And that's one of the great experiences of working on board. A lot of times people remember the ports of call, but they more remember the crew members that served them and the stories that they heard. They hear about, their room steward, their stateroom attendant has 2 kids at home that they're putting through college, and they're from Jamaica and they just had a bad storm that wiped out their house, but they have this big smile on their face and they have so much gratitude to be there. And so it's things like that that are so uplifting, that really makes the job enjoyable. So when people say, oh, you're away for 6 months at a time, it goes quick. It really does, because it's such an enjoyable experience that working with people from all over the world has just been an incredible gift. It really has.
So one thing that I always think is very cool with the cruise ships, and maybe you can even give some more information on it, or because you've been involved in the cruise industry, maybe you even know where it came from. But I always thought it was cool when you go on the cruise ship that their name tags have their name and where they're from, right? Like,
Yes.
that's pretty cool. Is there like a history of why that was like introduced into the cruise ship industry, or I'm actually just genuinely curious because I think it's pretty awesome. So
I think it's changed over the years. At one point, it was just their full name, and then they thought, well, we don't really need last names. And sometimes, if their names were really long, the lettering was so small on the name tag you couldn't even read it. So now it's just a first name, where they're from, and sometimes what languages they speak, because it's incredible. Some of our crew members might speak 5 or 6 languages, which to us in North America it's kind of hard to understand. Obviously, here in the U.S., it's different. In Canada, you might speak French and English, but over in Europe, they speak 4 or 5 different languages. And so now on their name tags, they put the flag of what language they speak as well, because I've worked with people who speak, Spanish and French and German and Italian, and they can go from one language to the next. And I have trouble speaking English, to be honest with you. And so it's really incredible when you have these people speaking all these languages. But yes, crew members are always identified. We have to wear a name tag. It's part of the uniform. And we have supervisors and managers who check for these things to make sure that they're in proper uniform. So the name tag, we want to be easily identified as a crew member, and we want the guests to be able to know who they're dealing with.
yeah, I mean, I think about it like if I go to a car dealer and I need to get my vehicle serviced, right? And I end up sitting in the waiting room. And sometimes you end up talking to the people, in the waiting room. And typically, if they're from Abbotsford, Canada, they're probably from Abbotsford, Canada. Why? Because we're all from Abbotsford and we're, getting our vehicles serviced at a dealership in Abbotsford. However, if you're on a cruise ship and you're sitting in, let's call it the lounge, and you're sitting there and you're having a drink and you're viewing the ocean and just relaxing. And next thing you know, someone else comes and sits down on the couch next to you and you start talking to them and they're from Australia or they're from Japan or they're from, I've met people from all over the world being on cruise ships, and it's absolutely amazing. And I'm a person that sometimes people get taken back from when I first start asking questions. Some people think like, oh, he's being rude or being ignorant to my culture. But once people realize that I'm actually just genuinely interested in what their culture is about, what's it like to live there, what kind of foods do you eat? Once they realize that, which usually is within a minute, they're like, oh, he's actually interested. He's not being disrespectful to me, right? But some people do feel that way at first because it's like, why are you asking me these questions, kind of thing, right? But it's awesome the amount of stuff you can learn about all these places in the world, and you can't get that. You're not going to get that at the car dealership. I mean, you might if you get lucky. Someone who maybe just immigrated here, maybe have that conversation. But on a cruise ship, it's so much easier because let's say you're coming out of like Fort Lauderdale or Miami, a major port, right? And people fly in from Europe, Australia, everywhere. Why? Because they want to go and see Mexico or Jamaica, or they want to go see, Bahamas, right? So they hop on it. So you have people from all over the world that fly in, they'll visit Miami or whatever for a week, and then they'll hop on a cruise ship for a week. Or they'll do like the big long Panama Canal. I'd love to do the Panama Canal one of these days. That'd be amazing.
That's fascinating. Yeah.
Did you do the Panama Canal?
I've done it a couple of times. I have not done the new canal. I've done the old canal a few times, but I haven't done the new canal since the new one opened. Yeah, but it's interesting what you say about the name tag. Something just as little as a name tag is also a conversation starter, because if you go up to your coffee guy, if we can go back to that example, and you see he's from Jamaica because it says where he's from, well, then that's an instant starter. Oh, I've been to Jamaica. Where in Jamaica are you from? Oh, we're going back there. Tell me some great places to go. So it's a conversation starter where you see these different crew members are from. And it's funny because now, if I go into, and it just happened the other day, I went into a doctor's office, but the nurses who came in was not wearing a name tag. There was no way that I knew her name. So, they said, oh, what's your name? And she says, oh, my name is, and I'm going to be doing this today. And, but now I look at these name tags and I wish every employee in every business wore a name tag, because first of all, it's good to know who you're dealing with. And as we talked about, it's a conversation starter. And people, if employees know that we, as a customer, we know their name, it could be the service might be a little better because we know who they are now. We know there's a name behind that face. So very important for something as small as a name tag.
Nice. So, if there's one thing you could change in the entire world today, what would it be and why?
Wow. We're getting philosophical here.
Well, it's you know what, it makes people think, right? And with you being on a cruise ship, it could be an interesting perspective. I've never
I, I don't know if it's something I would change, but it's something that I would bring to people's attention. Is what I've learned over the years is all about attitude. Attitude is so important. How you wake up in the morning, and I don't want this to sound, cheesy in any way, shape, or form, but I think the attitude that a person brings towards their life, towards their job, towards their relationships is so important, because on board, 98% of the people are absolutely wonderful. Our customers are great. They're there to have a good time. But there's always that 2% who are just unhappy with everything. They're just miserable people. And so many years ago, maybe 15 or 20 years ago, our goal was to win over that 2%. We worked really hard at concentrating on that 2% to win them over. And what we found out was that that's never going to happen. They're just miserable people on land. They're miserable people on a ship. They will look for the bad things in life. And so we decided as a company, no, we're not going to concentrate on that 2% anymore, because it's just for naught. We're never going to win them over. So now we concentrate on the 98% that we want coming back over and over again. Those are the people that we want to concentrate on. So if I could change anything in this world, it would just be people's attitudes towards life. It's so short to, enjoy everything that there is that life has to offer. Travel, see the world.
And we're back.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's all good.
Technical problems, which happens on a ship all the time. That we're in the middle of a show in theater, our microphones go out. So I apologize. That was on my end. But yes, attitude is so important, and gratitude is so important. Absolutely, absolutely.
So yeah, I was gonna segue into something. So I was gonna lost our train of thought. It's a good thing that they're not focusing on the 2%. So I do a bunch of YouTube videos for my business, and a few people are like, there's no way you should ever make videos showing people how to do installs. And I'm like, why? I was scared to do it for a very long time. And they said, well, because then you're giving away how you do it. I'm like, you know what? The majority of people out there just want to know I'm capable of doing it, and that I'm not a dummy, right? That I have the proper tools and I know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's 2, it might be 10%, right? That are do-it-yourselfers. They're doing it themselves no matter what, right? It doesn't matter if I say I'll do the install for free, because I know back in the day when I used to work at Best Buy, we used to have people come in, buy a head unit, and we'd say, we install it for free into your vehicle. And the guy goes, thanks, but I'll install it myself. I'm like, yeah, but we're not charging you anything. It's free. And one of our professionals, that's fine. I'm going to install it myself. Right. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, people who are going to do it themselves are going to do it themselves. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you give it to them for free. And like you said, if there's 2% of people that are unhappy, some of those people are naturally just going to be unhappy no matter what. And you're not going to be able to change that. That is just how they are. And I mean, even the other day, my daughter, she's 5 years old. She was really upset at my son over something so minor. He touched her water bottle, right? And I was like, listen, there's so many things in this world that we can get angry about or upset about. Someone touching your water bottle is not one of them. There's people in this world that don't even get food. There's people in this world that don't even get water, right? So just don't get mad over these little things. get mad over something that maybe actually be worthwhile getting mad about, right? And I mean, I'll be honest, I'm a person that usually gets mad about the little things. And I mean, I'm starting to get less and less mad about any of those little things, because it's like there's a lot of other things going on in the world here that you could get mad about. But why am I getting mad over, like, you didn't do the dishes last night, right? Like,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
we'll just clean them now, right? Like,
The only person who suffers when you get mad is you, because it's your blood pressure that's being raised. It's your, your insides that are affected, not the other person. So yeah, getting mad for this, what's the book? I think there's a book out, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and it's all small stuff.
oh
So
yeah, 100%.
there you go.
Yeah. So you also have another book, Repeat Business.
I do. It came out about 3 or 4 years ago. It's 50 tips and strategies that businesses can do today to keep their customers coming back tomorrow, because in our business, in any business, it's all about the repeat business. You don't want to have to keep going out and getting new customers all the time. You want the customers that are already in front of you to keep coming back. And so you want to make that experience as wonderful as possible. And so it's an easy read, 50 tips and strategies that businesses can do. It's why customer service is so important. And really today, in today's day and age, as you said in the introduction, businesses cannot compete on price alone. As we found out during the pandemic, a lower price is just a click away. Anybody online can sell you something at a lower price, but it's the service that you get. What happens when something goes wrong? Do you stand behind your product? Do you stand behind your employees? Have you empowered your employees to handle problems right away? Because if there's a problem with a product or a service and you take care of it right away, those customers are even more loyal to you because they know that you will stand behind their product if there is a problem. And so Repeat Business came out a few years ago. And you can't make this ship up. I mean, in this latest book, we talk about things like naked cruises. I did a naked cruise. Everybody on board the ship, after a 12-mile limit, it was a clothing optional cruise is what we called it. So I had a ship full of naked people running around. I mean, those are the things we have to deal with on board. Somebody's got to do it, but it's things like that we talk about in this latest book, about crazy things that happen on board like that.
Wow, that is pretty crazy. I was just thinking about repeat business and how you take care of customers, and I have a pretty crazy story. I bought some shoes off Amazon about 8 months ago, and they're like literally falling apart. And it's a brand that I've supported multiple times. Like, I have 3 sets of their shoes, right? Like, I'm always buying that shoe when it's become about a year or 2 years or a year and a half, whenever they start wearing out, I get a new one. Well, these ones are like falling apart. The bottom of the sole is like coming unglued, everything. Like it fell apart way too quickly. So I contacted, Amazon, said, hey, you know what? This is defective. There's something wrong with it. What do I do? And they're like, oh, well, we can only do something within the first 30 days. Okay. Contact the manufacturer. Okay. So I contact the manufacturer. Manufacturer basically tells me, oh, you need to contact Amazon because you bought them from Amazon. So they send me back to Amazon. Amazon puts it up to a manager. They come back, say the same thing. Like, it's a manufacturer's product. You need to talk to them. Back to the manufacturer, and they basically said, yeah, there's nothing we can do. And I said, like, you do realize that your product, it's your product, and you're not like taking care of me. like this isn't like I'm calling you saying I have a Nike shoe and I want Skechers to take care of it, right? I'm contacting you with a shoe that you manufacture, and it's falling apart. And I've been a repeat customer over and over and over again. So I, of course, said, listen, I don't know, one of the two companies here I'm not going to continue to support too much. I haven't ordered anything from Amazon since that happened a month ago now, because I'm going, and now it started making me think, I have customers that occasionally I'll install a dash cam for where they bought it off Amazon. Are they getting the same service? Right? Because with me, when they buy from me, they get full service, which means I come to their door. I take care of it. If it's defective, here's a new one. See you later. Have a great day. How's everything else going on in life? But when I don't sell it to them, I can't give them that service. Right.
Right.
And so it made me think, and unfortunately I had to give in and buy another set of Under Armour shoes because I have 4E wide feet, and it's one of the only shoes I could find that actually fit my feet. But I'm very disappointed that they wouldn't even say, hey, you know what? It's too bad you have a defective pair of shoes. Tell you what, I know you didn't buy it from us, but we'll give you, 50% off on a new pair if you buy from us, or 25% off, like nothing. It was just, we can't do anything for you. And I
And
was
you would have
like,
been happy with that, right? You would have been happy with
I would have been
25
happy
or
because you would have
50%.
said, hey, you know what? You didn't buy it from us, but let's do something for you.
Exactly.
Or, hey, humor me. If you
Yeah.
ship them back, we'll look at it and we'll give you an RMA and we'll get back to you based on what we see.
Right.
Okay. But the thing is they didn't go above and beyond. They didn't try to retain me as a customer. It was like they were happy saying, well, whatever, we have plenty of customers. Don't worry about it. But all it takes is one. So if
Yeah.
I give one bad experience to one customer, like I say, they're going to tell 10 or 20 of their friends.
Right.
If you have one person on your cruise ship that, let's say they normally come on a Royal Caribbean, and they come on and they get a terrible experience. Like everything goes bad. The food was bad. It wasn't up to the normal expectation that they expected from you. You know what? Now it's going to turn into Royal Caribbean's terrible. It's not the same way it used to be. And those are the conversations that happen, which now affects your business. But people are just thinking you're just one customer, but they don't realize the ripple. The ripple. So do you have something? You probably have something you can add to that conversation.
I have a few things that I can add to that
That'd be
conversation.
awesome.
So, yes, when something goes wrong, we don't want people to go home and say bad things about us. We want to take care of it right away. So we say, if there's a problem, let us know right away. Give us a chance to take care of it. If your food was not good last night in the dining room, let us know. We're going to make sure that today it is going to be good, and we're going to give you special attention if it was a problem yesterday. And so, yes, a long time ago, if somebody had a problem, let's say on a shore excursion, which they buy through the cruise line and they go ashore on a tour, and it wasn't their expectation. In the old days, we used to say, okay, here's a number to call. Here's the business card. Call the office when you get home and tell them about your bad experience. Well, for the rest of the cruise, they're upset. They go home, they're upset. They call the number, and now the people in our head office, they come back and get in touch with us. Now we have to investigate because it may be 3 or 4 weeks later. And in the end, the head office ends up giving these people their money back. And they had to go through this for 4, 5, 6 weeks while they're still upset, telling people about this bad experience. But now, and I don't want people to keep complaining on board because they think they're going to get their money back. But now, if there's a problem, we take care of it right on board, right then and there. We might give them a 25% refund or a 50% refund or something to help them. So take care of the problem right away. It's not going to go away if you ignore the problem. So yes, we have those things in place that we want people to be happy now so that the rest of their cruise, they don't have to stew in their anger about what something went wrong. And getting back to your problem with your sneakers, the one thing with your tennis shoes, the one thing they did not show was any compassion or empathy. And those are two things we talk about all the time. You have to show compassion for your customer. You have to show empathy. You have to put yourself in their shoes, no pun intended, because we were talking about your shoes, but they have to have some sort of empathy in order to show that they care. That's all a customer wants to know, is that somebody cares, that they've been listened to on the other side of the conversation. And you admitted it, if they had just shown a little compassion, a little empathy, you would have been happy and you would have no problem buying their product again. But now, because they didn't show that compassion and empathy, you think twice every time you want to buy that product again. And so that's some of the things we talk about is what employees need to do in order to make sure those customers keep coming back over and over and over again. Because again, it's all about repeat business and customer loyalty.
Yeah, you want to take care of your customers. You got to follow up with them. I mean, I'm going to be implementing in the next couple weeks. I'm going to be implementing an 11-month follow-up email with all my clients. The reason why is because their product has a 1-year warranty.
There you
And
go.
most people do a 1-year follow-up. Well, actually, not most people. A few companies do a 1-year follow-up. Well, the problem is you're following up and the 1-year warranty's done.
It's too late.
So how are you going to get warranty now with the manufacturer? While if I contact them at 11 months, I'm giving them 30 days to go, hey, you know what? Because sometimes people have problems or challenges with a product, but they're afraid to say anything. They feel like they're bugging you. They feel like they're causing. So I always try and make sure to let people know, like, I'm here for them. I'm here to help them. I'm here to listen, and as most challenges, we always get figured out. But I mean, there's always that couple where it's like, I don't know why I did that. It seems like it's 100% working fine now. And then you reach out to them again in a month and they're like, yeah, it seems like it's working fine. You don't know why. There's unexplainable things.
Yeah, and the fact, I think that's an excellent idea that you send it at 11 months, because now your name is back in front of them. Now they're thinking, wow, this is what great service. I didn't even realize my warranty expired in a month. So yes, okay, I am having this problem. And so you doing that, I think, is just an excellent example of thinking outside the box and doing something, keeping your name in front of them. And, oh yeah, I remember. Oh, okay, I didn't realize my warranty is over in a month. So I think that's an excellent idea. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, I'm about to start implementing it. I always do a follow-up a couple days after we do the install and see them. And we always it's just like, a thank you, but it's actually
Right.
a personalized video thank you. So
Oh,
we
that's
actually,
cool.
so we send it to them and everything, and it has lots of links and everything. So it'll have like links for our support tab and, links for our YouTube channel, links to this podcast if they want to listen to the podcast, right?
Cool.
So it's all these kinds of things that we try and implement to do that. But other than that, I don't do any remarketing to my customers, other than if Google Ads does it. Google Ads might do it, but we don't do like the email thing where we just keep emailing them over and over and over and over again. Now, I'll be honest. Now, if I'm looking for a cruise ship, or if I'm looking for a vacation to like Mexico, I usually want to get those emails probably once a week. Is there any deals? Is there anything going on? Hey, look, they're going to Bermuda now, right? Like, that kind of stuff I want to know. It's as low as $1,500. It's not bad. Maybe we'll look at booking that. But that's the kind of stuff personally for me I like, right? Because I like knowing where I can go and, okay, that fits my budget. Let's do it.
Well, you'll opt into those emails, and people can unsubscribe, but even you might want to start a referral program, or maybe you already have one that once a month you send out an email that says to your satisfied customers that say, refer us to a friend, and you get 10% off your next purchase, or they get 10% off, or some sort of referral program. Just keeping your name in front of them once a month, once every 2 months. Some sort of a program like that sometimes works. With the real estate agents, travel agents, things like that you refer them, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it's all about. Well, some people say your net worth is your network. I think. Hopefully I didn't botch that one.
Something like that. We get the idea.
So, but yeah, anyways, do you have any final comments or any final things you maybe want to bring up, or points, or?
Just if anybody, would like to get in touch, I have a website, paulrutterspeaks.com. I speak to land-based businesses. I do some executive coaching. I do some seminars, and if anybody's interested, to please reach out. I think the pandemic taught us a lot of things about business, and that's how we have to have more personal relationships with our customers, and even with our employees. Because of so many people quitting jobs, employee engagement is so important. We need to empower our employees, because employees want to be part of the solution. They don't want to be part of the problem. And if employees know they're contributing and helping, and they're being listened to for ideas, and especially employees on the front lines, empowering your employees is extremely important in today's market. You can't do everything in your business. Employees, your frontline employees, are so important to you. So empower them, and hopefully watch your profits grow.
Yeah, human interaction. I almost think, like, seeing COVID and seeing how brutal it was to get customer service anywhere, and now, like, to me, we're out of that wave, and we're back to almost normal. And it's like, some of these businesses you go into, it's like they've switched on again. It's like they got the masks off and they're all like, hey, how are you doing today? How can we help you out? And they're just excited to talk to people.
Right.
Then you go to some businesses and they're still giving the same customer service they were giving pre-pandemic, and they're running their business on, well, we have the best price. And they feel that that's good customer service.
Yeah.
No, like, I have friends that run businesses that tell me, like, they have really good businesses, their customers are loyal. And I said, well, why are they loyal? Because I have the best price. I said, okay, so you feel that your customers are loyal because you have the best price? Yes. I said, your customers are buying you. So if you're not getting back to them when they call with an estimate, if you're not picking up the phone when they call, if you're not, emailing them, if you're not staying connected to them, they're not going to come back. They're going to find someone else who does. Right.
The problem with being loyal to a price is that if a business opens up across the street with a lower price, they're gone. They're going to go to that customer. They're going to go to that business. So there's satisfaction, if I can remember it, loyalty of satisfaction, or I can't remember. If they're loyal to you because of price, then that's not loyalty. They're loyal to the price. And if somebody else opens with a lower price, to give you an example, there was a jeweler I used to go to, just like for watch batteries or to get a watch cleaned. He was right across the street from me. One day I go there and he's not there. And I'm thinking, where'd he go? And there's a sign on the door, oh, we moved 5 miles down the road. So now the question is, well, do I go that 5 miles, or do I just find another jeweler who's closer? And I said, I had such a great relationship with them. I now travel that further distance because the service was so good, not because his price was so good, but because his service was so good. And he remembers me, and he asks about my family when I walk in the door. And I feel, like I'm part of the family. So people will be loyal to you more out of satisfaction. It's a loyalty of satisfaction more than a loyalty of convenience. And the low price is a convenience. And if they're only coming to you because of let's say your gas prices are low here, well, if another gas station opens up across the street and they're a penny lower, they're going to go to that place because now they're loyal.
They line up.
Exactly.
It's very true.
You want a loyalty of satisfaction because they're satisfied, not a loyalty of convenience.
Yeah, no, and that is 100% true. I mean, I guess I am convenient in my business because I come directly to them, but I also try and do everything I can to make them satisfied customers, to make them comfortable with the product before I leave, to let them know that they can contact me if there's any challenges, right? So I always try and make sure to be like that. While a lot of other companies, I feel, focus so much on the transaction. They focus on just getting your money and then, see you later, right?
That's it.
And, unfortunately, that's kind of the world that we're living in today. Is I think a lot of businesses are focusing so hard on the transaction because they think they have to compete with Amazon, instead of just thinking, what can I do differently as a business to give them a better customer experience? I can go buy steak and go out to a restaurant and eat steak anywhere. Why am I going to go and pay $35 or $40 for a steak at this place, right? As compared to, I can go get a steak for $20 somewhere else. They probably buy it from the same supplier, but why am I going to go pay twice the amount of money? And it could be the servers that come to the table. It could be how you're greeted at the door. It could be the fact that if you have kids, maybe they bring a thing for them to color, or they make sure to bring the kids' meals out right away so that the kids are not frustrated at the table, right? They're engaged, they can eat the food, and then they settle down because they're eating, right? So it's all these little cues and little things that why you might go back. And there's lots of restaurants where I've gone back. Why? Because they're consistent.
It's the experience, exactly.
And that's what we should have talked about.
Studies have shown that people are willing to pay more if they know they're going to be guaranteed a better experience. And that's what people are buying now. They're buying experiences. They're not buying a product. Like you said, you go right to them. You make sure that they're happy with the experience. That's what people remember. And these studies say that, yes. And look what happens when you have a big birthday or an anniversary or people come into town, you take them to the really nice restaurant because you know it's going to be a great experience, as opposed to taking them to the inexpensive one right across the street where the experience is not good. People pay for experiences. That's been a proven fact. And so make sure the experience is an excellent one that exceeds expectations.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I appreciate you coming on the show here, Paul. It was interesting analogy of cruise ships and just not even really thinking about that. So it's definitely awesome.
Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate the invitation and coming on board.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Ben, check out Benjamin Del Grosso on LinkedIn, at Safe Drive Solutions on Instagram, or www.safedrivesolutions.ca online. We'll see you next time.